Welcome back, survivor. If you can hear this, it means you're still alive. This is Jack's Nightmares, and this is your next story. I didn't wake up because of panic. I woke up because the elevator chimed. That gentle automatic tone near the penthouse usually meant some junior exec had forgotten his badge again and tripped the override. But then it chimed a second time, then a third. That wasn't normal. I sat up, didn't rush, just listened. There's a certain calm you earn when you've spent 15 years expecting the worst, not hoping for it, just preparing for it. My wife, Jessica, stirred beside me and blinked toward the sound, and I was already leaning toward the camera panel beside the bed. I scrolled to hallway 50. Something was off. A man in a charcoal grey suit stood barefoot outside Unit 50C, swaying. One hand rested on the doorframe, the other slowly curled against the door itself, right at the peephole. He wasn't knocking. He wasn't yelling. He was listening. Head tilted. His forehead leaned so hard into the wood, it left an oily mark. I zoomed in. The peephole lens had a wet streak running down it. His eyes weren't focused. Not really. Jessica asked if it was Victor from next door. I didn't answer. I told her to take our son Tom and get into the safe room, lock the inner door, and wait for the code word. No drama, no panic in my voice. This wasn't unexpected. I'd known something like this would happen eventually. Not like this exactly, but close enough. The virus, the violence, the weak seams in the way the world worked. I built our space for this. While she led our boy into the sealed room behind the inner kitchen wall, I sat on the edge of the bed and laced up my boots. My name is Cole, and I guess you'd call me an urban prepper. That word gets thrown around a lot, made to sound like we're fanatics or weirdos. I'm not either. I'm a pragmatist, former logistics consultant. I watched systems fail for a living. Contracts collapse because a single link in the chain broke. I saw how much people trusted convenience, routine, the assumption that everything would always keep working. But nothing keeps working forever. So I made a plan. I didn't dig a bunker in the woods. I bought 3 full floors in a luxury tower in the heart of the city and quietly turned them into a hardened redoubt, reinforced internal stairwell, manually sealable safe room with independent airflow, battery walls, a food-grade water cistern disguised as a wine cellar, and 3 years of medical supplies, food, water, and backup gear. No one else in the tower knew, not even the HOA, and I was careful about that. I didn't do it because I wanted to outlive the world. I did it because I had a son, and because I couldn't stand the idea of standing helpless while everything collapsed. My phone vibrated on the side table. City alert, shelter in place, avoid windows, emergency services delayed. I stared at it for a second. Then I opened the side drawer where my pack was already waiting. Not a big pack, just the basics. Radios, bolt cutters, pry bar, duct tape, gloves, short flashlight, batteries, multi-tool, respirator mask, all arranged by priority. I didn't need to think about what to grab. I'd thought about it already. Every month for 6 years, I'd walked through these first 5 minutes in my head. I strapped the gloves to my belt loop. The flashlight clicked onto my chest. The pry bar came out of the wall mount where I disguised it as a decorative ladder hook. I pulled the hallway circuit map from the wall panel and flipped off power to 3 units. Their smart home assistants would announce names and greetings every time motion passed. Those synthetic voices would bring unwanted attention. I killed the music system in the hallway next. That stupid chill lounge track the HOA installed as ambient sound had to go. I'd argued about it at a board meeting last year. They said it calmed residents. I said it made noise discipline impossible. They rolled their eyes. I wondered if they still thought I was being dramatic. The radio on my hip squawked once. My wife, soft voice. Ready, he's with me. I held my thumb to the transmit button and said our code word twice. Green light, green light. That was the protocol. Once for a mistake, twice for the real thing. And then I heard it echoed back, just as we'd practiced, his voice muffled but clear. Green light, green light. No panic in it, just a kid being brave for his parents. The camera feed in the safe room showed them both. Jessica seated near the battery wall, hands on her lap, jaw clenched the way she did during turbulence. Our son was already holding his radio in both hands and watching the input meter like he understood what silence meant now. He was only 9, but he paid attention when I talked about preparedness. He knew what bug-out meant. He knew what loadout matched which threat profile. We kept it light with him, called them games, but he knew. I pressed my hand once to the safe room door, just for a second. Then I turned and headed down the vestibule stairwell. The interior stair between our 3 floors had been reinforced with steel jambs and latching mechanisms that worked without power. I'd paid a former executive protection consultant to help design it under the table. No exterior contractors, no noise, just gradual improvements over time. The stair opened onto floor 52, our uppermost floor. Nothing on the cameras yet, but the smell was starting to change. It's not just the infection, it's the collapse itself. When infrastructure buckles, the city exhales a different kind of breath, like burnt metal and heat-soaked plastic and whatever's leaking from the fire suppression system 2 floors down. I tucked a folded towel into my belt. I'd need it later to pad door closers. Deadening sound was everything. I paused at the final door before the public hallway. The camera feed still showed the man in the suit. He'd shifted position. Now both hands were flat on the door to 50C. His forehead pressed harder than before. The peephole was completely fogged. He hadn't knocked. He hadn't moved his feet. His jaw twitched like he was whispering, but the audio pickup didn't catch anything. I studied his shoulders. He wasn't just leaning. He was listening. That was the first sign. That strange, unnatural stillness. The infection was doing something to the way they perceived sound, how they chose targets, or maybe not chose. Maybe it was just a pattern. I didn't need to understand it now. I just needed to outlast it. I eased the door latch open and set the mirror out, 1 inch at a time. The hallway was quiet except for the faint creak of pipe expansion in the walls. Lights flickered as the backup system kicked in. A floor below me, somewhere far, something metal banged. Loud, irregular, not part of the building rhythm. An object, not a system. Something human, or something that used to be. No one else moved in the corridor, just the man in the suit, still swaying, still silent. My prep work had paid off already. Power circuits neutralized, hallway music dead, smart homes silenced, and my own movements, planned, rehearsed, deliberate. If I had to, I could make it 20 stories down with nothing more than a pry bar, 3 choke points, and a go bag. The biggest threat wasn't the building, it was what I'd see on the way. People who hadn't planned, people who wouldn't stay quiet, people who would make noise and draw things none of us could reason with. I stepped out, closed the door behind me, let it latch against the towel I'd wedged in to muffle the sound. I say hello, low voice, 20 feet away. He turns, his eyes don't. His head follows after, off by a fraction like old video. He moves, not fast, but with that steady lean that eats distance. I draw him down the hall with a whisper, then toss a kitchen timer past him. It ticks on tile. He pivots and drifts toward the sound. I pass with my back to the wall and tape the latch on 52's stair door so it won't slam. I work the internal stair first, clearing the 3 floors I own. Then, 51. The stairwell is quiet, concrete and steel that amplifies everything, so every step is a slow set down, not a stomp. I slide grease pencil X's on safe doors, triangles on doors with activity behind them. It's not perfect, but it trains my brain to map the space. I keep the light off most of the time and let the dim emergency strip glow do the work. I secure 2 fire hose cabinets open so I can reach a valve fast if sprinklers blow. I wedge towels into the closer arms on doors so they ease instead of snap shut. Small stuff, but small stuff is survival. I need water and the med duffel from 50. I move along the wall, use the mirror before every corner, and throw a second timer around the bend to pull anything dumb and hungry away. A voice hums through a door I recognize. It's the neighbor with the piano. The hum isn't a song. It's the sound a dog makes when it dreams. I turn toward 50E for the med bag, and freeze at the edge of the kitchen. A man lies under the sink cabinet with his feet out, ankle wrapped in a scarf. Bite through the fabric. He peeks up with glassy eyes and a flinch that reads as pain and shame at once. "Help me," he says. I tell him the truth. Infection is fast. I give him a radio and the second code word for this apartment only. Tell him I'll try to get back with something, and that he must not open the door to anyone unless he hears that word twice. He nods but stares at the sink like the drain can answer him. I write his unit number on my arm with the grease pencil. I make the med duffel and a case of water into a low, quiet sled with a yoga mat and tape. The hallway whisper growls as more of the undead drift toward where my timers tick. I keep my sound footprint soft and bring the supplies to our inner stair. The safe room camera shows Jessica and Tom silent and steady. He holds the backup radio in both hands and sits near the battery rack like it's a campfire. I tell her I'm going to map the north stair and look for the building engineer. If the generators aren't happy, we lose lights and pressure early. She reads me what's on the life safety panel. Fault on 39, smoke detected 10, door held open 24. I nod and head down. The north stair from 49 down is messy. Bags dumped, paper everywhere, a bicycle on its side, with the front wheel bent into a pretzel and a child's shoe jammed in the tread. I move the bike to deaden the clatter, muscle it along, sweat stinging my eyes. A voice calls from the landing below in a language I half recognize. I announce myself, palms out. 2 men huddle at the door to 48, one with an improvised spear, the other with a burn up his forearm where a saucepan must have exploded. Fear hangs on them like wet clothes. I kneel a few steps up, not in their space. I slide a radio down and a roll of tape and ask for a mechanical key if they have one. The unburned man fishes one from his pocket, a key ring with the building crest, tags for mechanical rooms, likely pulled from a dead porter. He pushes it toward me with the spear tip. "You go fix power," he says. I tell him I will try. His friend's skin is blistered. I tear the gauze pack open and leave it within reach. We don't shake hands. We don't smile. We just look at each other, understanding this trade is a lifeline that might hold for an hour. On 46, the stair becomes a waterfall. A riser bursts above somewhere and floods the treads in a thin sheet. The steel nosings are slick. I crawl the outside edge, knees and elbows, pry bar like a cane. Someone behind a door says, "Please," through the crack where the sweep doesn't meet the threshold. The voice is older and dry. I tell her my name and that I will come back. I mark the jam with a horizontal line and move on because the stair hum is growing and I can't break this rhythm yet. The sky lobby on 37 is half lit and wrong. One of those wellness videos plays on a wall screen, the instructor holding a perfect plank while the caption scrolls through a list of morning routines. Steam floats near the ceiling. The sky bridge door shows a palm-shaped smear from the far side and a print low down near the floor like someone crawled while pressing up. I cup my hands to the glass and look into the boutique office tower across the street. Shapes stand still in the gloom. If a shape stands that still for that long, I treat it as hostile and move on. The bridge is last resort. 38. The mechanical floor hums like a throat clearing. I knock the pattern the engineer, and I worked out the day the building opened. Light heavy with the pry bar on the caged door. "Who?" he asks through the steel, like a person who slept under his desk, which he does during storms because he doesn't trust lightning arresters from the cheapest bidder. I give him my name and the last 4 of my locker code. He unlatches. He's pale and bleeding at the hairline. He holds his head like a bowling ball. He points to the generator panel where a fuel polishing alarm sits lit in angry red. Without polishing, the diesel fouls faster. He says he tried to restart and tripped to fault. I close the breaker, reset the alarm, run the purge, and ask him how long on current load. He says 8 hours if the tower stops acting like a disco. I tell him 24 has a door held open and 10 has smoke. He says the loading dock's motor died, so someone chain-latched it by hand. He also says the service elevator can be put into phase 1 to open, but not run. In other words, stairs. Always stairs. He wants to come with me. I want him to stay and nurse the machine through the tantrums. We compromise. I leave him with water and the medkit's butterfly strips and tell him to text me when the panel screams again. He gives me a laminated card for a manual bypass on the lobby fire alarm silencer. He says it will cut the chime without killing the horn circuit. That chime calls the undead downstairs like a dinner bell. I put the card in my front pocket and head for 34, because my wife says the cameras show motion near the amenity deck. On 24, the stair landing is a furniture warehouse. Sofas, tables, a rolling planter someone dragged out to wedge the door. A man in a varsity hoodie stands behind the pile with a bat on his shoulder. A woman in a robe with one sleeve torn knots cord around the legs of a chair. A boy holds a flashlight steady like it's part of his arm. The man tells me to turn around, go back where I came from, or surrender my pack and weapons and join up. I raise my hands and say I'm just passing through, not taking their space, not a threat. He says nobody gets past unless he says so. Behind him, a girl peers through bangs and points to the gaffer tape on my buckles and nods. She knows the sound game. I offer a trade. I'll show them a way to deaden this door so it doesn't slam, and I'll leave a radio if they let me slide along the wall. He talks to the robe woman, short and tense. She asks where I'm going. Loading dock, I say, and back. I've got family up top. She looks at the boy with the light and then at me. You have kids? I say yes. She says 2 kids are locked in 10B by the amenity deck. The lock died when the network blinked. She says nobody can get in. I hold up the mechanical key I took earlier. The hoodie man says pass left. The linebacker in him follows me for 6 steps, the bat hanging loose like he hits home runs for a living. We exchange names. He gives me the boy's name, the robe woman's name, the floor number again. He tells me if I come back fast with those kids and don't bring a parade, I'll have friends on 24. I tell him silence buys more time than muscle and point to the door closer. We tape padding where the arm hits home. The door settles without a sound. The boy tries it twice with a grin he can't hide. Little win. We need those. The amenity deck is steam, alarms, and rain indoors. A sauna glows like a kiln through the glass, heating an empty room to no purpose. I cut power at the panel. Water sheets off the ceiling and makes the tile slick under a layer of spilled shampoo. Smoke lies under the doors like a dirty line. I move low. The door to 10B has a cheap digital lock that pinged an API 15 minutes ago and now acts like a brick. Behind it, 2 thin voices and the calm sing-song of a nanny who is doing math. I say hello and put the mechanical key in the cylinder. The key refuses with that awful soft noise a pin tumbler makes when a piece is off. I breathe, turn the key back a hair, push in on the handle to relieve pressure, and try again. It turns. The nanny stands with both kids behind her like a lioness without claws. She looks at my hands, not my face, and then at the hallway where a shape shuffles behind the steam. I tell her we are going to the stair, and we are going to be quiet. I hand one kid a towel to hold under his chin to catch coughs. I give the other my extra gloves and ask him to keep both hands on the rail like it's the only solid thing left in the world. We make the stair without incident and climb one flight where the air is a touch cleaner. On 11, a woman in a pantsuit hugs the landing, shaking in place. The nanny's eyes say she knows the woman. I hand the kids to her and say floor 24 has a gate and people who will take them if the code word is said twice at the door. The nanny repeats it, steady voice, eyes glass bright but level. I watch them go, then listen to the stair for a full minute. Nothing but water and distant doors. Down toward the lobby mezzanine now. My radio crackles. My wife whispers that the camera on 5 shows a group moving fast, not the loose sway of the Walking Dead, running. That means panic, not patience. I notch my speed back and keep to the wall. On 3, a sign for the art gallery points toward the atrium. The atrium is a glass bowl with white stone floors, and those ridiculous kinetic sculptures that move in a gentle breeze. Today the breeze is the HVAC trying to die with dignity. The concierge is inside the secure glass vestibule with 2 residents. His jacket is off. His tie is in a knot around his forearm. One of the residents has a bandage that already needs changing. Outside the turnstiles, dozens of the undead press their faces to the glass. Quiet, blank. That silence gnaws more than any scream. They press because the elevator dings every 30 seconds, and the front doors keep opening and closing on a loop. I drop behind the planter and fish the laminated card from my pocket. The fire alarm panel sits behind a locked door. The card opens the door. I silence the chime without killing the horns. The floor exhales, if a building can do that. I skirt the edge of the atrium and reach the motion sensor for the furniture showroom down the hall. I dangle my backpack strap in front of it, and the lights pop on, all that glossy leather glowing like a stage. The faces at the glass pivot toward the light, not fast but together, a tide that forgets what it was doing and goes to a brighter thing. While they drift, I belly crawl to the vestibule hatch and tap the glass with one finger. The concierge looks at me like I'm something he dreamed up. I point to the hatch. He pulls it up, winces as he shoves his arm through. A ring of master keys on a belt clip slides under first. Good man. He whispers that the dock is chained. I nod. He wants me to open the hatch enough for him to squeeze out. I shake my head and draw my finger across the air, meaning wait. I point at the showroom and mouth, more. He swallows and lowers the hatch. The dock-level door eats sound. The hallway back here smells like coffee grounds, cardboard, and old rain. The dock door is chain-latched through the handles because the motor failed, like the engineer said. The chain rides through the latch and bites the paint, loud if mishandled. I take a folded towel from the side pouch and feed it between chain and steel, padding the bite. I squeeze the bolt cutters through slowly and chew one link, 2, 3. The chain slumps, quiet. I stand still for a count of 20 and listen. Something shifts in the dark beyond. Soft scrape. I hold until the air settles. Then I ease the door an inch and let the outside talk. The city hum is not normal. Sirens move without pattern. A helicopter circles without intention. There's a sugary smell over everything that means spilled soda, broken pastries, maybe more. I open the door wide enough to slip through and set one foot on the dock. The alley is a canyon, with one ridge light blown, and the other flickering into a strobe that makes movement stutter. A bus noses a planter put there to keep trucks from parking. The bus door is open, steps smeared. I don't climb into that. A police cruiser sits with light bar going to nobody. Nobody is home. A pigeon picks at a pretzel on the curb like the world is the same as yesterday. It is not. I can stash a handcart here with water and go bags for the return, then go back up. That's the play I planned in my head for years. Seed the route with caches. Make the big move with the family after the test run. I tuck 2 water bricks and a small duffel into the service stair of the office building toward the sky bridge and wedge them behind a cleaning cart. I drop 2 glow sticks, green and then blue, low by the baseboard as breadcrumbs for later. I scratch an arrow on the paint with the pry bar, small and dull, nothing a stranger would clock unless he knelt. On my way back into the tower, a man runs past the alley mouth with a knife in his hand and a look like sleepwalking. He does not see me. He sees a woman ahead of him, screaming. 2 infected stumble after her at the edge of my vision. I want to intervene. I don't. I'm not equipped for alley heroics. Noise gets me killed and ruins the route for later when I'm not solo. The moral math is rotten. I go inside, close the dock door, and refeed the chain so it looks latched. The concierge meets me at the hatch and whispers that one of the residents with him wants out. I tell him I can take one with me now and 2 later, but I'm going up first for my family. He passes me a strip of paper through the hatch with an apartment number and a name, and looks like I asked him to pick which of his hands to keep. I tell him I'll be back. He nods once. Not happy, but fixed on the plan. The stair up feels steeper. Maybe it is. Maybe my mind knows what waits and pushes back. On 15, I hear a voice counting 1, 2, 3 over and over. It's a barbell dad from the gym level, locked in a breathing pattern that sounds like work. I give him a lane, and he gives me a 2-finger salute, and we don't need to be friends. On 17, I spot a kid crouched on the landing with a paring knife and a bucket like he planned to catch rain. He looks at me and does not blink. I point up and then down. He points down. I hand him a radio and say the code word. He nods like he is memorizing the shape my mouth made, then tucks the radio into his hoodie pocket. I don't ask where his parents are. If they were here, he wouldn't be sitting here. Back at 24, I slide along the wall, and the varsity hoodie man's bat shadows me again. I tell him the kids from 10B are with the nanny on 11 and on their way. He grunts and lets me pass. The robe woman puts a palm on my shoulder and says, "Please hurry coming down again." I tell her the dock is a door I can open quietly, and I'll show her the trick after I get my family ready. The boy with the flashlight tries the door closer again and smiles when it whispers shut. He's proud of silence. That skill might save him. On 30, Jessica pings me. "Power flicker," she says. My phone buzzes half a second later with the engineer's text. Polishing pump hiccup again. I tell I'll check on him after I get them into travel mode. I reach 37 and pause at the sky bridge. The palm smear on the glass looks newer. Maybe my mind is lying. The shapes in the office tower stand in the same spots. One is closer to the glass now. That could be light playing tricks, or it walked slow all this time, and I just happened to look again when it arrived. Either way, that bridge is a no. 50 comes into view like a familiar street after a storm. The hall has changed. The man in the suit is on the floor near 50C with his arm out like a child reaching for toys under a couch. His fingernails are torn and dark around the edges. The door to 50C is open an inch. The apartment inside hums. Something in there is talking. A smart speaker. "Jules," it says, perky voice. "Would you like to resume your morning mix?" The man on the floor twitches. Two of the undead farther down the hall lift their heads a fraction and tip like plants towards sunlight. I close the door to 50C, slow, with the towel on the edge to cushion the catch. Then I drag the man by his elbows into the maintenance closet because his arm keeps moving, and I don't need that in my peripheral vision when we come through here with a child. I lock the closet. It's not mercy, it's order. In the safe room, Jessica has laid out packs by weight. She's in running shoes, jeans, jacket, no jewelry, no scent. Tom has his baseball cap pulled down tight, and that stubborn jaw he uses when math refuses to make sense. I tell them the route. I tell them what I did on 24 and 10. I tell them the dock trick. No promises, just steps. Jessica asks about the neighbor on 50E. I show her the number on my arm and say I will check him before we go. She nods because she knows me, and she knows that if I don't look, I will carry it forever. We run comms checks. Radios are clear. Code word protocol reviewed. I pull a pistol from the wall safe and clip it to my belt under the jacket. I hate adding that sound to this building, but I'd hate failing my family more. It stays quiet until it has to talk. We move as a unit. I lead with pry bar and light. Jessica follows with the med duffel. Tom walks third with a pack half his size and a roll of tape around his wrist like a bracelet because we always tape what slams. We stop at 50E. I knock and say his name. No answer. The radio on the nightstand inside crackles with my voice, and that feels like a ghost shaking my shoulder. I open the door an inch. The neighbor sits propped against the dishwasher with his head back and his mouth slack. The scarf on his ankle is soaked through. His chest moves in small, shallow stutters. He turns his head toward the sound, and the eyes don't track me. There's no good ending in that room. I close the door, and we move on. At 49, the bicycle is gone from the stair. Someone used it, or threw it down the stairwell. I see a jag of chrome on 47, and a shape sprawled 2 floors below. That might be a bike or a person. We don't climb down to check. Sound first, safety first. On 46, the water rises to our ankles and carries leaves, receipt paper, a rubber duck from some bath. My son spots the duck and almost smiles. He pockets it without a word. A totem he won't admit helps. On 45, the door chirps when I touch it. The alarm magnetic contact trying to complain. I tape the magnet and the frame together with a twisting band of gaffer, and then click the latch slowly. No chirp. We pass. We hit 24 and stop. The furniture wall is taller. The boy with the flashlight stands watch. He beams when he sees the kids from 10B with the nanny and the pantsuit woman at the far end of the hall. They made it. The varsity hoodie man steps out and gives me an old-fashioned handshake. "You're good," he says, voice too loud for my taste but full of relief. I put a finger to lips. He gets it. The robe woman asks if we are going to the dock now. I nod. She says wait, and grabs a small backpack and a photo in a frame, and then puts the photo back on the table and leaves it there. That hurts in a way I won't unpack right now. I run the tape trick on their stair door again, teach 2 of them how to do it, then we keep moving. The amenity deck is calm now that I killed power to the sauna. The hot tub burps without heat like a swamp, some chemical stew that used to be a selling point. We don't tarry. On 15, the counting voice is gone. A barbell lies across the landing with dented walls where it bounced. On 12, someone has painted arrows in lipstick on the wall. Up this way, down that way. The arrows contradict each other 3 times in a row. Panic art. Keep moving. At the mezzanine, the glass bowl still holds a crowd. The concierge sees us and mouths a question. I hold up one finger, meaning first pass is us. He nods. He understands triage. The showroom lights died when the motion timer did. The undead pressed the glass without music now. I slide to the panel, kill the chime again because it came back on like a bad habit. When I belly to the hatch, the boy inside, the one with the bandage, looks at my son with open hope that stings. I point to my watch and shake my head. He nods slow, like he expected that. Tom looks at me, and I see the argument in his eyes. I say later. He tightens his jaw and holds his pack strap like it keeps him from speaking. The dock door trick works again. The towel eats the bite of the chain. We slip through into the alley. My cached water and duffels sit where I left them in the office stair. No one stole my breadcrumbs. The street smells worse in daylight. Smoke from somewhere far, sugar rot near, hot plastic underfoot where a traffic cone melted and smeared. A siren cuts off in the distance, abrupt, like a radio lost power mid-word. We stick to the wall and move toward the service tunnel that runs under the side street to the office building. The tunnel gate is half down, stuck. I drop flat and push our packs under one by one. Tom slides after, wriggling through with practiced calm. Jessica looks back at the tower glass and then lays prone and scoots under. I go last, pulling the packs, then reclip the chain on this side to look unbroken. Inside the office building service stair, the air cools and slows my mind. My glow sticks pulse at ankle height, green then blue, little signals that we can't mistake. We climb to the skybridge level and face the glass door with the palm smear. Up close, there's a pattern to the streaks. Nails dragged, pause, dragged again. Not a child. Too wide. No thank you. We backtrack to the floor below and enter the office through a tenant door with the master key. Cubicles smell like coffee and printer toner, and lines of plants already drooping. Papers on a meeting table list a budget plan that will never happen. A jacket over a chair. A handbag under a desk with a lipstick tube and a train pass. I click my tongue, and Tom steps in close to me without being told. We move parallel to the interior glass so we don't silhouette. Near the bridge, we angle to the stair again, and go up one more floor, where a maintenance catwalk leads over to the far corner of the bridge's building. The catwalk creaks. The sound kicks my gut. We slow our pace and test each step. Before we commit to the catwalk, a shape leans against the far glass and seeds a low rasp into the air. It leaves fog where its exhale hits the pane. The glass vibrates. Not much, but enough for me to see the ripple. The shape taps. Tap, 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 rhythm, not random. That knocks a wire loose inside me. The Walking Dead don't do rhythm. A person does that. I kill my light and listen. A voice whispers from beyond the glass. Small, as if the person talking tries not to wake a sleeper. Help, he says. Please. I weigh the hallway in my head. On our side, we have space and stairs, and a second exit route back to the tower. On his side, we have a glass door with a badge reader and a human crouched behind it. Just behind the human, in the near dark, 2 other shapes stand too still, heads tipped down, not pressing, not tapping, just there like mannequins. The whisperer glances over his shoulder and then back, like he knows exactly where those shapes stand and has made a peace with them that is out of balance. Jessica tilts her head the way she does when she does mental triage. We can't bring a stranger into our caravan through a choke point with 2 unknowns behind him. She sees my face and feels my pull and shakes her head once. I make the sign with my fingers. Later, he sags and stops tapping, as if he expected it, as if this is not the first time someone didn't open for him. I hate this day. We back out of the office building and traverse a level down using the interior stairs to the opposite side, where an exterior fire escape runs to the plaza. The door alarm, if it's even powered, will call noise we can handle. I glue the magnet to the frame and press the door gently. The outside world opens like a stage with no crew. The plaza has the big fountain I always thought was wasteful. It's off now. Coins glint in the dry bowl. A food truck tips onto a bench. Tires half on, half off. Pigeons pick at something on the steps that I choose not to classify beyond the word spilled. We move in a tight triangle. Me ahead, Jessica left rear, Tom right rear, watching sectors like a team we practice to be. We have two choices for the next leg. West toward the river where I know a private garage with a generator that might still run, or east toward the smaller streets where the gridlock thin out but escape routes are fewer. The river sounds like helicopters and megaphones. East smells like burnt rubber and quiet. I choose east because quiet beats megaphones now. We skirt the plaza and cut through a hotel drive. A bellhop hat lies in a puddle of cappuccino foam. The lobby doors are blown out. A line of luggage waits for check-in that will never happen. A woman in a housekeeper's uniform sits behind the front desk with her chin on her chest. Tom looks at her and then hard at the carpet. We do not touch bodies. We do not check pulses. Jessica squeezes his shoulder once and we keep moving. Half a block down, a man in tactical pants and a polo with a club logo waves us into a doorway with frantic arms. He has a pistol and a neck vein that looks ready to pop. He whispers that a pack of fast ones blew through the intersection 2 minutes ago and took a jogger off his feet like a linebacker. He points at the corner and says, "Sprint, grab car, go," like fast is a plan. I tell him we move quiet. He calls me a fool without using words like he wants to use. He points again. I ask him if the car is his. He says yes. I ask if he has spare keys. He says no. I tell him sprinting to a single point failure is a bad plan. He glares. Then he sags and admits the truth. The keys are upstairs with his partner, who ran to the restroom and never came back. He wants me to go up with him. Jessica shakes her head. I look at the boy. He looks at the ground. I tell the man I can spare 2 minutes to check the stair if we do it my way. He agrees. We climb inside the service stair in darkness. The man's breath scratches like sandpaper. The air smells of hand soap and fear. On the second floor we hit a corridor with 3 doors. The first is ajar. The restroom door is closed. The third is a maintenance closet. I open the closet and take 2 stepladders and wedge them under the handles of the restroom and the ajar door with tight angles to create a mechanical advantage. If something hits from the inside, it will meet a flank, not an open path. We listen. From behind the restroom door comes a sound like a mop dragged across tile. Slow. The man whispers his partner's name and puts his hand on the handle. I put my hand on his forearm and say no. I tell him to talk through the door. He does. His partner answers in a voice that doesn't feel like a human in a bathroom anymore. It repeats his name wrong. We leave. He cries without sound all the way to the stair. I give him a radio and the code word. He tucks it into his pocket like a burned coin. "Your way," he says. "Okay." We swing around the block and head back toward the tower because I want to keep the path warm, and because the concierge, the kids, the robe woman, the varsity hoodie man, the engineer, all of them sit in my mind like pins on a map with string between. As we approach the alley, a pickup truck noses in from the far end with 2 men in it. One stands in the bed with a garden rake like a pike. The driver leans over the wheel as if that will make the engine quieter. They see us, and the man with the rake barks something friendly. He offers us a ride. His smile is too big. Jessica shifts to put her body between our son and the truck without making it obvious. I wave them on. The driver says, "Gas is free now, buddy. Hop in." The rake man hops down and starts toward us, with that bounce a salesman gets when he thinks a deal is closed. I raise the pry bar and keep my eyes on his hands. His smile goes flat. The driver calls him off with a soft word, then floors it, and the truck sways as it bounces over something in the alley I don't want to picture. That smile is out there in the city now, grinning at other families. This is going to get uglier. We pass the mezzanine again. The concierge is still there, eyes on us the whole time like a sailor watching a lighthouse. I hold up 2 fingers and a circle for later. He nods and touches the glass with his palm, and then pulls it back like heat burns. We climb. On 24, we deliver the tape trick lesson to 2 more hands. The boy with the flashlight asks my son his name. They exchange names like normal kids at a park, except each name feels heavy. The robe woman gives Jessica a granola bar, and then takes it back and hands it to the boy with the light. He splits it and gives half to Tom. I am not a crying man. I want to be one for a second. We push up to 38 to see the engineer before we crash in our fort. He opens the cage, and his face says the generator cursed him again. I run the purge and reset steps while he drinks water like it's money. He says the fuel might not last through the night with the elevators trying to cycle. I tell him we can lock them out with a breaker on each bank. He smiles like Christmas. We go to the elevator room and throw the cutoffs and slap paper notes to the doors downstairs that read stairs only. It won't stop a panicked person from hammering the button, but it might spare a cycle or 2. He gives me a roll of caution tape as if we're going to need to draw lines between old life and new. He's right. On 50, the neighbor's door sits quiet. The maintenance closet where I dragged the suited man knocks once, rhythmic, like he gained some sense of pattern in death. I don't open it. I get my family into the safe room and shut the inner door. We eat quietly. We drink in sips. Tom asks when we go for the concierge and the bandaged boy. I say at last light or first light, whichever gives us fewer shadows moving against glass. He nods. He holds that rubber duck in his lap and pretends not to. Jessica asks about the skybridge man with the whisper. I say later. She understands that later might be never. Night falls with no will. The city outside becomes a bowl of lights, then a smear, then a mirror with fireflies. Helicopters vanish. Sirens burn out. The Walking Dead pile where motion calls them. I watch the interior cams I paid to have wired into the life safety panel years ago, when I asked for peace of mind. Peace of mind is more like it. On 10, a figure limps into frame and tips into the hot tub with a splash that slaps the tile like hands clapping. On 24, the robe woman sits with her back to the sofa wall, and the varsity hoodie man sleeps in 2-second snatches, bat across his knees. On the mezzanine, the concierge stands now, not sits, back straight like a soldier. The bandaged boy leans into the glass and draws a circle in the condensation and fills it in with his fingertip. The glass outside blooms with faces as more undead press to see a child draw a circle. I want to shoot the glass. I want to carry that boy out on my shoulders and walk him through a world that is not this one. I do nothing but watch, which is the hardest thing I have done in a long life of buying problems before they start. I set alarms on my phone for a midnight dock run. We'll go down with light packs and pull the concierge first if the hallway feels slick, or we will cache the handcart closer and prep. I do a last gear check. Tom tunes the radios like a tiny old man, methodical, and then arranges water bricks by the door in the order he wants to grab them. Jessica counts batteries, and then counts them again. A ritual from her fieldwork days that kept expensive gear from dying on mountains. We lie down in our clothes on top of the safe room blankets. I stare at the ceiling and pretend I can sleep. The closet door thumps a soft beat that doesn't match any clock. When the alarm fires, I hit it before it chirps twice. The safe room air hums. Tom opens his eyes with the clean snap of a child trained to wake at the first sound. We pack and move out. On 52's camera, the hall is clear. On 50, a figure stands with her forehead on the wood of 50C like the suited man earlier, quiet, patient, waiting for a sound inside. Patience means trouble. The Walking Dead patience is the worst kind. We go down the internal stair to 51 and then into the north stair, where our taped door closer does its whisper catch. I live for that soft little sound now. It means we still control one thing. On 30 we halt. Voices drift upper, not moans. People. A man says he has the code for a unit. A woman says, run it again. A beep 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 that doesn't match a mechanical lock. I peek the mirror. 3 people in hoodies and canvas jackets kneel at a door. One has a hammer in his belt. Another has a heavy screwdriver. They have a child with them, maybe 8 or 9, with a backpack and a cat carrier. The cat's eyes shine like LEDs. The hammerman sees me in the mirror without looking up and says, we're just getting in. I say we're passing through. He nods once. He tries a code again. The door chirps red. He curses under his breath. A small word that tells me he cares about the child hearing it. I ask if he needs the key. He looks at me like he heard a joke. I hold up the mechanical key on the ring and step back. He rises slow, hands up, shows me his belt, the hammer, open palms. I move to the door and pick the cover off the cylinder with my thumbnail. The key turns. The door opens. Inside, quiet. He thanks me, small voice. The girl breathes, "Thank you," into the mesh of the cat carrier, like she believes the cat did this, not me. He hands me a granola bar and a hotel room keycard as if I collect tokens from the old world. I take the granola bar. The card goes into my pocket because habit likes pockets. We move on. At the mezzanine, the crowd has thinned, as if the undead learned boredom, or they followed a noise elsewhere. The concierge stands ready. The bandaged boy's eyes are closed. The third resident slumps. Now or never. I trigger the showroom one more time. Lights blossom, faces pivot. We slide to the hatch. I lift it an inch. The concierge passes the boy first. Good man. Jessica takes him like a package. I pull the second resident out by the belt while Tom reaches for the concierge's hand. The concierge shakes his head. He points to the far door where two shapes wandered back when the lights came on. He mouths one more and then points to the lobby desk. He wants a ledger. Of all the things. I want to argue. I'm out of time. I nod once. He closes the hatch and disappears toward the desk. We retreat to the stair with our new package and his companion. We move to the landing and wait, backs flat, guns kept down, instruments of last resort. 1 minute, 2, 3. The showroom lights die. The faces drift back. The concierge does not return. Jessica's eyes ask the question. I shake my head. The boy in her arms stirs and says a number like a street address and then goes quiet again. The second resident says the concierge's first name and stares at the hatch like he can will it to open. We wait 1 more minute. Tom watches the hall with the steady posture of someone who understands that courage is not loud. Finally, I pull us back into the stair. The ledger is a book. A book will not hold a door. We move up, quiet and fast like smoke. On 24, the robe woman sees the boy and makes a sound that is part joy, part grief. The varsity hoodie man takes the second resident and sits him on a chair and hands him water like he practiced empathy in a mirror. I show them the chain trick for the dock door again on a scrap of paper, sketching links and padding. I leave them a second radio and give them the code word. I tell them we will try again for the concierge at first light. The robe woman nods and wipes her face with the heel of her hand and gets to work settling the rescued pair behind their pile. We climb to the top again. On 38, the engineer sleeps under the panel with a wrench on his chest. The generator hum is even. I let him sleep. On 50, the suited man in the closet has stopped his soft rhythm. The hall is empty. The smart speaker in 50C runs a weather forecast to an empty room. I kill the breaker to that unit and it goes dark. The safe room door closes behind us with that good steel sound that forgives a little of the day. We lay the boy on the blanket and tape his bandage fresh and give him tiny sips of water. He mutters the address again, and then a name I don't know. He sleeps. I sit with my back on the door and make a list. Fuel on 39. Water pressure falling. Elevators locked. Skybridge number dock workable. 24 friendly. 10 deck quiet. 50E no good. Concierge missing. Ledger unknown. Whisper man behind bridge glass. Rake man in pickup. Tactical pants man with partner behind restroom door. Boy with duck. Cat carrier family. Names on my arm smearing into a grey band like old newsprint. Jessica sits beside me, shoulder against mine, head tilted back like she is measuring the ceiling for a project we'll never do. Tom sleeps with his hat on and the duck under his arm. The safe room hums. The city exhales, then inhales, then holds its breath. I look at the clock. The first day will end soon. The second will want more from us. Our plan for dawn. Engineer check. Dock run. Attempt concierge again, if corridor flow cooperates. then office stair cash pickup and move 3 blocks east to a quieter set of streets with a private garage that my friend runs. If my friend is still a person. If not, we take water and keep moving. Outside, the world hasn't stopped. It just got quieter in all the wrong ways. A single helicopter drifts back into the soundscape, chopping low over the river. Its spotlight dances between rooftops like it's not looking for someone specific, just trying to prove something's still in control. A voice blurts over the loudspeaker, slow and garbled, syllables lost in the wind. Numbers maybe, coordinates, or just noise to make the people below believe someone's still tracking this. I doubt anyone is. Through the mezzanine feed, the infected begin to peel away. One by one, they drift off towards some echo only they can hear. They move like children who forgot why they walked into a room. No sense of destination, just reflex. A cluster breaks off toward the revolving door, where the motion sensor flickered earlier. The rest scatter like spilled seeds, rolling in random directions across the white tile. The concierge is still nowhere in sight. Far below us, a fire door slams. Not once, twice. The second bang echoes longer. That's someone panicking, running without a plan, maybe crashing through levels they don't understand. A sound like that is bait. Every hallway between here and the basement just lit up for anything with working ears. Somewhere, someone just turned a stairwell into a trap. I can't stop them, but I can count. I sit back against the safe room wall and breathe through my nose. Slow, steady, and count backward from 100. I always do that when my mind wants to sprint ahead, start solving problems I haven't seen yet. 100, 99, 98. Sleep doesn't come all at once. It arrives in slices, thin and uneven. I wake once with my cheek against my shoulder and the pry bar still resting in my lap. Cold from steel. My legs ache in a dull, honest way. Climbing stairs with gear will do that. Across from me, my wife is asleep sitting upright, one arm still draped over the blanket that covers the boy. Her hand rests just above his back like she's trying to guard his dreams. The boy mumbles something in his sleep and lets out a soft snore, then goes quiet again. That sound is the best thing I've heard all day. The generator stutters once, coughs like an old smoker, then steadies again. Its rhythm becomes the only thing keeping time. That and the little LED on the radio charging hub that flickers once every second like it's keeping watch. We made it through the first night. That doesn't mean much yet, but it's something. Not a win, but not a loss. When the light finally comes, it's not sun, it's just less dark. Dawn in the city isn't soft or golden, it's cold and grey, smeared across the sky like old paint. I step to the high window in the main room and squint through the haze. Smoke clings low. Somewhere south, something's burning big, but not fast. I can't tell if it's a building or a vehicle yard. The wind carries it away from us, for now. The streets look hungover, car doors open, a bike on its side. No one moving between them, but I know better than to assume quiet means safe. There are always layers. We've just peeled off the first one. I stretch slowly, not to loosen up, just to remind my body that it still has a shape. My knees are stiff. There's a sharp knot behind my shoulder from the weight of the gear vest, and my right ankle rolls funny when I stand. I tap the safe room door once with my knuckle. Not a knock, just contact, just to feel that it's still solid, still here. On the camera monitor, the hallway outside is empty. The corridor's fluorescent strip lighting glows dull white, flickering every few seconds like a bad habit it can't quit. No movement, no motion alerts, nothing to stop me. I take the radio in my hand, thumb the mic. Green light, green light. The words bounce back through the steel, through the filtered air, through every plan I ever made. That's the signal, always twice, never once. It means we start the next part of this day, and no matter what's waiting out there, on the stairs, in the halls, behind the glass on the bridge, or crouched behind a locked office door somewhere, we move forward. Because in here, we still have a system, we still follow the protocol, and that's how you stay alive. That's all for now. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to keep the stories alive. For now, stay quiet, stay vigilant, and stay alive. Jack's Nightmares, signing off. Until next time, survivor.